It's rather important to remember that when the Fleischer Studio first adapted the Popeye strip for the movies, they were looking at the strip as it stood in 1932 when the rights were being negotiated. And as a result, they inherited another character who, from Seagar's point of view, was only meant to be there for one story, and that was Bluto.
From the comic strips that I read initially, Bluto ranged from being a non-entity to really just a minor character. There were much more interesting villains, and they were much more diverse. And again, it wasn't always just about Popeye fighting Goliath.
He was the villain of a story then current called The Eighth Sea. So the Fleischer people saw him and thought, great, he's the villain, we can use him, and he will be good as the regular heavy. So Bluto inherited a role that Seagar had never intended for him.
Sorry, old pal. Better luck next time.
Bluto's a great character. I mean, what a villain. Just his size, his girth, this big hulking character that could just be as mean as you need him to be. And I mean, you know he's going to lay some weight down on Popeye.
He was just a big lug that Popeye had to have an adversary, and he worked out beautifully.
I
don't know if you've ever listened to Bluto eat, but if, as he's playing Alibaba in the two-reeler, it's hilarious. He'll pick something up and go, yum, 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 and make all these weird cartoony noises.
Something I always found interesting about the Popeye cartoons is that sometimes Olive recognizes Bluto, and sometimes she doesn't. In Learned Politeness, Bluto shows up as Professor Bluto, and somehow neither Popeye or Olive recognize him.
Would one of you boys like to show me around the ship?
At your service, lady. Right this way.
I'll show you the ship. Right this way.
In one sense, the triangle between Popeye, Olive and Bluto replaced that in the newspaper strip that had been occupied by Ham Gravy. That dynamic wasn't there in the movies because Ham Gravy was one of the characters they chose not to include. So what we have here is the eternal love triangle. And between Popeye and Bluto, originally they just wanted to beat each other's brains out. As the Fleischer series developed, there was a bond between them that was quite clearly unbreakable. They loved knocking each other to pieces. Without that conflict, they were dead men.
I wish Bluto was here.
I remember a late-ish Fleischer called Fighting Pals, where Bluto goes missing in the jungle somewhere, and Popeye's missing him like crazy. He just can't take it, so he takes a ship and goes out following Bluto. He's heard he's been lost in the jungle somewhere, finds him. He's fine, by the way, lots of native girls and all the comforts of home. But once this ragged Popeye has been restored with spinach, which Bluto helpfully supplies, which is quite interesting, like, are you ready? Ready! And they start bashing each other up.
It's swell to have Brutus for a friend.
I also have to admit, once they changed Bluto's name to Brutus, I lost interest in the character completely. So what is this? And it's like you're in the Twilight Zone. Now you know his name is Bluto. They can't be calling him Brutus. That's not his name. I must have heard wrong.
Brutus!
To me, he'll always be Bluto.
Everyone in our lives has a Bluto. When you're a kid, there's always a guy bigger than you, you're Bluto, and you fantasize about punching him out, and I, in some cases, like punching him through the wall beyond that, and the wall beyond that, as Popeye did.
Bluto represents what man is, and Popeye is what man aspires to be. And I think we're all Blutos in a world where we all wish we were Popeye.
Do you feel strong enough?
I feel swell.
Well, let's go.